Hello everybody, welcome back to my theory series, and this is the next part. Now this episode, I'm going to describe the falmer, and whether they should return or become part of in some way of the next Elder Scrolls game. It's kind of branching off of the Dwemer video I made previously about the Dwemer returning and perhaps the falmer, or should I say, snow elves, return as well. The Dwemer vanished in some way supernatural. Now, as the falmer, or should I say, snow elves, kind of deteriorated into this goblin sort of race of their former selves. They're not as great as they once were, and now they're like these nasty little critters that basically don't care about anybody but pretty much kill everybody. And we're going to discuss whether they will have a significant plot in the next game. Now, thing is, the falmer, or should I say snow elves, are okay. Right now, I'll say right off the bat, the betrayed, the falmer, and the snow elves are all basically the same thing. Just certain people call them different names based on their viewpoints of this race. Now, to get back to it, the falmer mainly stayed in Skyrim because Skyrim was originally the snow elf homeland. Now, so with the next game probably not taking place in Skyrim, most likely. I mean, why would they? The falmer probably also will not be in the next game. However, that doesn't mean there won't be any lore to them during this next game. Maybe there'll be a book about them, or maybe we'll meet one of them that kind of escaped from Skyrim, or maybe there's a group of them that, ventured out of Skyrim. So say if it's like a nearby province, like say Hammerfell, which the next game could possibly, highly likely be in, the falmer could possibly be in that game. So, the falmer, pretty much will stay in Skyrim. I don't think they're gonna have too much of a big deal in the next game. There'll definitely be lore about it. But snow elves wise, there could be like maybe a secret group of snow elves that survived the fungus slave infestation, whatever you call that, that the Dwemer did to them. Just like there was one sanctum that if you saw in the Dawnguard DLC, in which some snow elves escaped the Dwemer and their fungus like slave, wanting scheme or whatever, and they pretty much had their own little sanctum. They were away from the rest of the falmer, and they were basically protected by the sanctum they were in, and they kind of lived there for a while and weren't bothered at all. Well, all the rest of the snow elves turned into falmer, or these nasty creatures. These other snow elves in the sanctum stayed pretty well the same. Then all of a sudden one day, the betrayed, or is what the snow elves call their brethren that became that way, they attacked the sanctum and killed pretty much all the snow elves within the sanctum, except maybe for 2 or 3, just a few snow elves that remained alive. In the DLC, you see 2 snow elves still alive, and that's this guy named Galenbar, I think his name is, and his brother Veruth, or something like that, and then Verther or something like that. Anyway, a spoiler alert, I'm about to say something, but you probably have already seen the DLC. You kill Verther in the DLC because he turned into some vampire or whatever. You had to knock him out, whatever he did. He's kind of evil now. But anyway, okay, now back to this. Galenbar is pretty much the last of the snow elves present that you know of. Doesn't mean he's the last snow elf to exist, but he's the last one that kind of know of. And he even tells you that he believes that there's other Snow Elf secret groups on the planet Nirn that could possibly be other than just Skyrim. So possibly in the next game you could see Snow Elf secret hideouts or something that other Snow Elves also escaped from the Dwemer at the time. So it is possible that Galenbar is not the last Snow Elf to known, but with the falmer, it's kind of like a 50-50% chance of seeing him in the next game. But Snow Elves is kind of the same way. But you kind of hope to see the Snow Elves in the next game, just to see what became of them. Because with the Dawnguard DLC, you kind of feel bad for them and how they're almost pretty much to extinction. However, Galenbar also says that the falmer have actually been getting smarter, and their intellect has been rising increasingly higher. I'll show you what he says right here, as I'm going to talk to him, and he will describe more upon that. Let's listen in.
Anything at all I can help you with, please ask. I feel nothing but sympathy for the betrayed, despite my actions against them. But I'm afraid that they're well beyond a cure at this point. The twisted forms you've seen didn't occur overnight. It isn't a plague or a disease that ravaged our species. The dwarves may have stolen their sight, but it took many generations for them to become what they are today. Perhaps they'll never return to their former appearance, but over the centuries, I've noticed a rise in their intellect. If a line of communication could be established with them, maybe they can find peace. It's the only way they'll discover that they weren't always malignant. They were once a proud and prosperous race. While it would fill me with joy to see the Chantry back to its former glory, that time has long since passed. Now that my brother's dead, it's quite possible I'm the last of our kind. There's no need for that kind of talk. I said it was possible. It's also quite possible that there are some other isolated conclaves of Snow Elves, nestled elsewhere on Nirn. I'll also assume Vertha didn't exactly give you the option to stay your hand. For the time being, I will remain here on the Overlook and continue trying to keep the Sanctum free of the betrayed. You're always welcome to return here at any time, of course.
Alright, so as you hear him saying, he kind of believes that the falmer will get to a point where you can actually communicate with them and they'll be at peace, and you'll be able to coexist with the falmer at some point. However, they won't return to their original former selves, the Snow Elf selves. They will still be able to return to a state where they could be somewhat civilized. So maybe in the next game, depending on how far in the future it is, maybe you could actually, talk to the falmer, or do business with the falmer in some sort of way. That's just a possible idea for the next Elder Scrolls game. It's very possible that we would see some kind of communication or more lore about it at the very minimum. So what do you guys think? Do you like this idea? Do you think the Elder Scrolls should continue with the falmer lore? Post your ideas and comments down below in the the comment box. And please subscribe, like, and share, and give me lots of feedback, because I really appreciate all that. And thank you. Peace off.